Welcome to Tree Crying. This piece we're together. We home back to the desk story and the case that leaves their mark. I'm Fernandita Chamoy.
And I'm Vicodin, and today we'll take you on a journey through the mind and footsteps of a killer whose case continues to generate questions, fear, and curiosity.
Here we don't glorify violence. We seek to understand the facts, the signs, and the impacts they of the victim and the third source of things with comfortable take and deep break because what is coming is for everyone. Let's begin.
From childhood, we feel genuine terror and dread of beings we call monsters. Beings we imagine with repulsive, twisted faces, grotesque creatures that simple seeing them causes the greatest fear. Let me tell you something. Surely the most terrible monsters, the ones that should frighten you the most, don't have deformed faces. They aren't physically repulsive beings. You don't even realize how terrible they are, because many of them walk among us. Because they cross the street, take the same bus as you, because they work in the bakery you go to every day. Many monsters, surely the most dangerous, the most terrible, are invisible, and you'll probably never know about them until someone discovers them. Then, the door to the abyss opens. Pandora's box is opened, and we realize that this person, with that fabled faces, with that almost likable personality, was a being so repugnant that not even the worst monster that could have emerged from your nightmares could even come close. Today, we'll talk about a monster that, while we like it to be a lie, isn't. As always, reality surpasses fiction. The first case is that of Luis Alfredo Garavito, better known as the Beast.
Do you know Garavito Vicodin?
Yes, well, I've heard a little about him. What have you heard about him?
Here with pedophile is crime exclude kidnapping, rape, murder, and indefinite death.
I heard he killed 172 people. Is that right?
Actually, it is suspect that 3 were more than the 300. Look, we tell you lied about Garavito. Garavito was a Colombian man, a wilder more than 300 people, mostly children. These children here kidnapped, raped, and the murdered by Garavito in the remote areas.
Garavito constantly changed his identity to avoid being discovered. He suffered from APD, antisocial personality disorder, and many of the crimes he committed involved pedophile, sadism, satanic rituals, and psychopathy. He also kept a record where he noted each and every one of his victims. If you ask me, that's disgusting and really weird.
Garavito became a sexual predator after being abused several times by his father's friends, and neighbors in various distinct ways.
What do you think about that, Fernandita Chamoy? Honestly, do you think victims of sexual abuse are more likely to become abusers, like Garavito?
I think it's a very delicate subject. The fact that a person has been a victim of abuse never justifies them becoming an abuser later. It is true that trauma can affect the mind and behavior, but in the end, each person is responsible for their actions. Many people experience terrible abuse and do not become aggressors. In my opinion, what Garavito did has no explanation or forgiveness. His personal history may help to understand how he became that way, but it never justifies it. And I don't believe that all victims are forced to repeat patterns, rather they need support, therapy, and a safe environment to break that cycle. Each case is different, but becoming an abuser will always be a terrible and conscious decision.
Exactly, that's my opinion. Garavito's actions are completely unjustified. His background only serves to explain why he became that way, but what he did were atrocities, and he doesn't deserve any forgiveness. Of course, people like him would be avoided without people like his father, for example. But in the end, everyone is responsible sorry, is responsible for their own decisions, and you can't blame other people for your actions. Speaking of actions, what do you think about the things Garavito did to his victims? Personally, I think it's a topic we should discuss because, for example, the satanic rituals he performed. I mean, it's insane to even think about. Garavito wasn't satisfied with abusing, killing, or dismembering. He kept wanting more, and that's truly disgusting if you ask me.
There is no real evidence that Garavito performed satanic rituals. Often when there are such severe crimes, people make up or exaggerate things because they seek more mysterious or shocking explanations. What is proven is that he committed kidnappings, abuses, and murders, and that is enough to understand the severity of those acts without adding things.
I didn't know that. People can be a little crazy sometimes. You know what really surprised me? Is the number of years he was initially sentenced to. 1,853 years. It's insane when you think about it. And you might say, well, that's it. He'll spend his whole life in prison and we'll never see him again. But no, it turns out the laws in Colombia are different, and the maximum they give him back then was 40 years. But then, later, Garavito confessed to the locations where he had buried his victims, and they reduced his sentence. If he hadn't died from eye cancer, that guy would be free now, because he was sentenced in 2001 and only got 24 years. Like, wow, I don't doubt he wouldn't have lasted more than a minute and a half outside of prison before they shot him like 50 times. But if you think about it, do you think it's like giving him a prize? Honestly, I don't understand it. What do you think?
For all this primitive cruelty planned its attacks in advance, targeting vulnerable victims and areas where there were no witnesses. There's also forced disappearance. Its victims vanished without a trace, making investigations difficult, evasion of justice, constantly changing cities, adopting methods to avoid identification. For all this, we have social manipulation hand in hand. It poses as trustworthy people like a street vendor, collector, or humble worker to build that trust. Then comes the violation of national laws. Crimes were committed in multiple regions of the country, leaving crime patterns in different departments, hiding all kinds of evidence, taking measures to leave as little evidence as possible.
Truth is that the Garavito case also drew attention because of how everything worked around him. For example, many people don't know that for many years he was missing because he changed his way of dressing, his way of speaking, and even his physical appearance. Though he seemed like a different person in every city. But besides, investigations discovered that he carried notebooks and notes where he wrote down route states and even details like where he moved, as if he kept a record of everything. Another interesting thing is that when they captured him, many police officers couldn't believe that a single person had committed so many crimes, though at first they thought it could be several people acting. Also, it was known that several times he was about to be arrested but managed to escape because he blended very easily among people. His case ended up influencing how criminal profiles are made in Colombia, because before there was a lot of talk about serial killers, and the most striking thing is that even in prison, psychologists said he continued to show a cold attitude and manipulative, which explained why he managed to deceive so many people for so long.
Just so you know, Garavito spent many years committing these atrocious and repugnant crimes, each one a little worse than the last, and for years the police couldn't find him. If the unforeseen circumstance that occurred the day he was caught hadn't happened, he probably would have committed many more similar acts. It was pure coincidence to a certain extent if you think about it, and it probably was. Even so, how did the victims feel at that time? I mean, the fear, the despair, the ignorance, all the disgusting feelings they surely experience. Sometimes we might think that death isn't really the worst fate. I could cite many cases that prove this. Anyway, thank God Garavito is dead and won't rise from the grave again. I seriously hope that the victims he took for his perversions are resting in peace, whatever they may be, and that the things this monster who once lived among us did to them no longer have them.
Well, that was true crime, and we analyzed the case of Luis Alfredo Garavito, one of the most horrific mass murderers in modern history. Thanks for listening. Vicodin and Fernandita Chamoy signing off, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Always remember to be alert, because hell isn't down below or up above. It's here, in the real world, in today's world. You won't see the demons when you die, you see them here, right here and now. Ciao!